Yes, what's up, polyglots? Today is the 31st of December. We're almost in 2021. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I've done in 2020 in terms of reading and other few things that I've done. Okay, so my target for 2020 was to read 40 books. That was the target when I wrote my 2020 resolutions in 2019. I told myself that I was going to read 40 books, but unfortunately, I didn't manage to do that. I only managed to read 31 books out of 40, so 9 other books I did not read them. Okay, partly because of what has been happening because of the pandemic, and it's not an excuse, but it's one of the things that made me not to read all the 40 books that I wanted to read. And the other thing is because I dedicated myself to do other things that were not part of my 2020 resolutions. For example, learning Spanish and Portuguese. Even though I do not speak these two languages fluently, but at least I'm able to communicate with people. My friends are from Brazil, I have friends from Colombia, from Peru, from Venezuela that I communicate with, people from Mozambique also that I can communicate with in some in Spanish and some in Portuguese. So those are some of the things that I've done, but the aim of the video is to tell you some to give you a list of books that have influenced my life that I would want you to read. So as you can see here, there are some of the books. This is the first one. I'm going to talk about it later. This is also another book. Another book. Okay, so I'm not someone who likes reading PDFs, but because books are expensive, and where I am right now, you cannot find bookshops. There's a difference between a bookshop and a library. A library, you go and you borrow a book, you read, and then you give it back. But a bookshop is a place where you can buy books, and also buying it on Amazon is also quite expensive. But when I was in Algeria, I could afford sometimes to buy. There was a friend who could also buy for me, and in Algeria, books were so cheap. Okay, so the first book is this one that I've shown you here, Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. It's a very good book that I would recommend everyone to read. Some of the books I've read them in PDFs. For example, so I said that the first one is Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. Then the second one is The Secret. Okay, I'm going to write to give you some of the writers. I'm going to write them on the just below in the description. Okay, so The Secret is number one. The Secret, number one. The second one, The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. The third one, Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. Okay, this one that I've shown you. The fourth one is Inferno by Dan Brown. Okay, I've got it here in hard copy. The next one is Tagueurs d'Espérance. So this one is in French. I really love this book, and I've read it several times. The next one is called Reality Transformation by Vadim Zeland. He's a Russian, and his book is just fantastic. The next one is Leaders Eat Last. Okay, I read it in PDF. The other one is The Science of Getting Rich. This one I've read it several times, even though I'm not rich yet, but I've learned a lot of things from this book written by Wallace D Wattles. The next one is Pedagogy of the Oppressed. This book was written by Paulo Freire. He's Brazilian. Okay, so I read it because I am doing my master in education, so I would love to become a teacher. So that's why I was reading this book, and it is just fantastic. The next one, of course, is by Steve Kaufmann. The book is called The Linguist. I think it was supposed to be the first one on the list because I really loved this book. Steve explains how he learned the 20 languages that he speaks. and it's just awesome, and I really loved this book. The next one is by Louis Hay, The Power is Within Yourself. This one I read it in Spanish, because we said when you're learning a language, you need to receive input. You receive input from listening and reading. So that's why I read this book in Spanish, and I really enjoyed it, even though I did not understand everything, but at least I understood almost 90% of what I was reading. The next one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. This one I've read it, I think, 5 times. I really enjoyed reading it, and it's just a fantastic book. The next one is 2 Weeks in November by Douglas Rogers. So this explains about the coup that happened in Zimbabwe. I read it in PDF, and just a fantastic. It explains a lot, about politics in Zimbabwe, and also partly in South Africa. And the next one is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This one you really have to read it. It explains about the apartheid. If you have read Long Journey to Freedom by Mandela, you really have to read also this one, because it's just fantastic, and I'm sure you're gonna like it. And the last one is The Wonders of a Disciplined Imagination by Dr. Joseph Murphy. This one I listened it as an audiobook, and I'm going to give you the link below. It's really interesting, and the person who was reading it is called Brian Scott. You can read it, you can listen to it, and it will also help you to learn English language. Okay, and for 2021, what are my resolutions just in terms of languages and reading? I am planning to read 50 books, because I think I'll try to create time. I don't have time, but I'll create time to do that. And So I'm planning to read 40 books. I'm also planning to continue with my Spanish and my Portuguese, of course. Even French, even though I speak French fluently, but I feel like I still, you have to continue. Learning a language is a lifetime project. You can never stop to do it. So I'm gonna continue with that. And I'm also going to start learning Italian language. Learning several languages at the same time, you need to make sure that other two languages, or the other language that you are learning, reaches a certain level where you are able to understand and communicate a little bit, and then you start another language. So I think I've reached that level in both Spanish and Portuguese. So I'm going to start with Italian language. So some of the books that are on my list for 2021 is The Promised Land by Barack Obama, that is just published recently, and I've heard him talking about the book with Trevor Noah, and I think it's a fantastic book where he talks about his experience as the president of the US, and some of the regrets. So I'm gonna buy this and read it. The other one is this is in Spanish, but I'm sure you can find it in English also. El viaje en el país de los blancos, written by this guy Osma. I think he's from Ghana, and he explains how he went to Italy, Los País de los Blancos, El País de los Blancos, Italy. So for him, he went to Italy, and in the book he said, I never knew that I was a black person until I reached the border of Libya. I really loved that sentence, because I've also got some of my experiences with that, with racism and stuff. And he also said that people always say that the Mediterranean is the biggest cemetery in the world, but I think it was before. Now is the Sahara Desert. I also loved that sentence also. Okay, so that's also one of the books that I'm going to read. And then the other one is Shaking Hands with the Devil, when this guy explains about the apartheid in Rwanda. Okay, he talks about people being killed in Rwanda, and I think it's also a fantastic book. Okay, so these are some of the books I'm going to read, and these are some of the things that I'm going to do. So it's very important to have a list of resolutions. You can write them today, and make sure that 2020 you're gonna do this and this and this. Okay, so that you'll be productive. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I wish everyone a happy new year, a prosperous year, healthy everything, and love. Okay, so we're gonna continue, and see you next year. Peace.